Yo, 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 your boy's back with the most chilling discovery in hip-hop history. And what I'm about to reveal is going to make you realize that Kendrick Lamar isn't just a rapper, he's a cultural assassin, operating on levels that most people can't even comprehend. When Kendrick said, hey, 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 run for your life.
Hey, 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 run for your life.
He's not applying a Bill Cosby Fat Albert there, is he?
Hey, 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 run for your life.
Most people heard a simple threat mixed with the Fat Albert reference, but I discovered something terrifying that changes everything. This is actually a reference to a banned Beatles song from 1965 that was so controversial, so dark, so threatening that radio stations refused to play it and multiple cities banned it completely. You think Kendrick was just making threats? Think again. What I'm about to expose is how Kendrick weaponized one of the most controversial songs in music history to make his diss track psychologically terrifying. We're talking about Run for Your Life by the Beatles, a song so problematic that it was described as threatening, jealous, and obsessive, a song that made people uncomfortable because of its dark implications about possession and violence. And here's what makes this discovery absolutely mind-blowing. Kendrick didn't just pick any Beatles song, he chose the most controversial one in their entire catalog, the one that got banned, the one that made people question the Beatles' wholesome image. He took a song about obsessive threats and wove it into his diss track to add layers of menace that 99% of people completely missed. But wait, it gets even deeper. The Hey 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 also references Fat Albert, and with Bill Cosby's current reputation, Kendrick's making dark implications about predatory behavior while simultaneously channeling banned Beatles energy. This isn't just wordplay, this is cultural warfare at the highest level, where every reference carries multiple meanings and historical weight. This is what separates Kendrick from every other rapper in the game. While others make simple threats, Kendrick weaves banned Beatles songs and controversial TV references into his disses, creating graduate-level cultural literacy that makes his threats more terrifying through sheer intelligence. When someone references banned songs while threatening you, it shows they operate on a different intellectual stratosphere that most people can't even access. By the end of this breakdown, you'll understand why this Beatles reference makes the diss psychologically devastating, how Kendrick uses cultural knowledge as a weapon, and why sophisticated threats are infinitely more terrifying than simple ones. You'll see how Kendrick turned a diss track into high art by channeling the energy of music history's most controversial moments. If you're ready to discover how Kendrick made his threat terrifying by making it sophisticated, smash that like button right now. Hit subscribe because this cultural analysis is about to blow your mind. And buckle up because we're about to dive into the most intellectually intimidating diss reference in hip-hop history.
Wolves, who have led by as many as 32.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Are we locked in?
Hold on.
Then stab this way, stab that way.
Yeah.
Let's break down the surface versus the depth. Most people hear Run for Your Life and think, oh, Kendrick's just telling Drake to run. But nah fam, this is layered. The Beatles' Run for Your Life from 1965 was so controversial that radio stations in the US and UK refused to play it. The content? John Lennon literally sings, "I'd rather see you dead, little girl, than to be with another man." That's not just a threat, that's a whole restraining order in a song. The song was described as threatening, jealous, and problematic, exactly the energy Kendrick was channeling. The Beatles themselves later said they regretted making it. That's how dark it was. Now, let's talk about the historical context. Run for Your Life was released in 1965 on the Rubber Soul album. Almost immediately, it was banned in multiple cities. Radio stations said, "We can't play this, it's too much." The public was divided. Some people loved the raw emotion. Others were like, "Yo, John Lennon, you good?" The song's themes of jealousy, possession, and violence made it a lightning rod for controversy. And Kendrick, being the scholar he is, picked this song to reference in his diss. That's not an accident, that's a calculated move. But why does this matter? Because Kendrick didn't just pick any Beatles song, he picked the one that was banned, the one that made people question the Beatles' image, the one that made people uncomfortable. By referencing Run for Your Life, Kendrick is saying, I'm not just threatening you, I'm channeling the energy of music history's most controversial moments. That's psychological warfare. That's cultural mastery. And the Fat Albert connection? Bruh, this is where it gets wild. Hey, hey, hey is Fat Albert's catchphrase. On the surface, it's innocent, it's nostalgic, it's funny. But with Bill Cosby's current reputation, Kendrick's making a dark implication about predatory behavior. He's saying, you're not just running from me, you're running from your own scandals, your own history, your own demons. That's a roast and a cultural critique. Kendrick's weaving banned Beatles energy with Fat Albert's catchphrase to create a web of menace and mockery. Let's talk about the sophistication factor. This is what separates Kendrick from every other rapper. While others make simple threats, Kendrick weaves banned Beatles songs and controversial TV references into his disses. This is graduate-level cultural literacy. He's showing knowledge that spans decades and genres. He's packing multiple meanings into single phrases. He's using knowledge as a weapon. He's turning diss tracks into cultural commentary. That's not just rap, that's high art. And the terror psychology? The genius is that Kendrick made the threat more terrifying by making it sophisticated. When someone references banned songs while threatening you, it shows they operate on a different intellectual level. Smart threats are scarier than simple ones. Cultural authority, using pop culture knowledge as power. Unpredictability, showing depth of cultural awareness. Psychological dominance, operating above the opponent's level. Kendrick's saying, you can't even understand the level I'm operating on. You're playing checkers. I'm playing 4D chess with banned Beatles records and Fat Albert reruns. Let's talk about the cultural warfare conclusion. This Beatles reference proves Kendrick operates in a different stratosphere. He's not just making threats, he's creating cultural art that references banned songs and controversial figures. This is the most sophisticated diss in hip-hop history. Cultural mastery, using pop culture as warfare. Artistic superiority, elevating diss tracks to high art. Intellectual dominance, showing superior cultural knowledge. Terror through sophistication, making threats more menacing through intelligence. Let's get into the evidence. Beatles historical context. Run for Your Life, release history and controversy, radio ban documentation and reasons, cultural reception and critical analysis, song content analysis and themes. Fat Albert / Bill Cosby connection and implications. How current events affect reference interpretation, the psychology of layered cultural references, academic analysis of pop culture in hip-hop, sophistication metrics, comparison to other diss track references, cultural literacy in hip-hop analysis, how intellectual references amplify threats, academic perspectives on cultural warfare in rap. And the comedy? Bruh, Kendrick's basically saying, Drake, you the only rapper who could get threatened with a Beatles song and a Fat Albert catchphrase in the same verse. That's like getting roasted by Shakespeare and Dave Chappelle at the same time. That's like showing up to a spelling bee and getting dunked on by LeBron. The disrespect is legendary. Let's talk about the legacy. This Beatles reference will be remembered as the one that changed the game. It's the cheat code.
Niggas gon' say that!
Kendrick, stop!
This is a bomb!
Be my friend.
Let's talk about how this line hit the whole culture like a punch to the chest. If you're ready for the most high energy, evidence-packed, and straight-up hilarious deep dive into how the streets, the group chats, and the barbershops reacted, smash that like, hit subscribe, and let's get into it. Let's set the scene. Not Like Us drops, and the timeline goes nuts. Everybody's waiting for the punchlines, the memes, the classic Compton energy. But then Kendrick hits us with, hey, 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 run for your life. At first, folks thought it was just a threat, just a little Fat Albert reference, just Kendrick flexing. But then the culture started catching on. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, even your auntie's Facebook group. Everybody started asking, wait, did he just reference a banned Beatles song? Is this man threatening Drake with a pop culture history lesson? Bruh, the group chats were on fire. You had the old heads like, yo, that's a Beatles bar, that's Lennon energy. You had the young heads like, who's Fat Albert? Is that a new OVO artist? And then you had the hip hop nerds breaking down the Beatles' Run for Your Life history, talking about how it was banned for being too dark, too possessive, too threatening. The culture was like, Kendrick just turned a diss track into a college seminar. This man is different. And the memes? Legendary. You had people posting Beatles album covers with Kendrick's face photoshopped on Lennon. You had TikToks of people running in slow motion with Hey Hey Hey, Run for Your Life playing in the background. You had Drake fans trying to act like they didn't hear the bar, but you could see the pain in their eyes. The culture was laughing, but also a little bit scared, because this wasn't just a threat, it was a threat with the bibliography. Let's talk about the barbershop energy. You know it's real when the barbershop debates go from who's the best rapper to did Kendrick just threaten Drake with a Beatles song and a Fat Albert catchphrase? Dudes were arguing about whether it was a simple threat or a layered cultural nuke. One dude was like, that's not just a diss, that's a dissertation. Another was like, bruh, Kendrick just made the Beatles gangsta. I ain't never seen that before. And the comedy? Bruh, the culture was clowning Drake so hard. Drake out here getting threatened by Beatles bars and cartoon catchphrases. Next thing you know, Kendrick gon' diss him with a SpongeBob reference and end his whole career. The jokes were flying. Drake, you better run for your life. Kendrick got the Beatles, Fat Albert, and the whole culture on his side. Drake's next diss track gonna be called Help, and it's just him singing Beatles covers in the shower. But let's get serious for a second. The culture felt this bar because it was more than just a threat. It was a flex of intelligence, a flex of cultural knowledge, a flex of psychological warfare. Kendrick wasn't just saying, I'm coming for you. He was saying, I know more than you, I'm deeper than you, and I can make the whole world laugh at you while I do it. That's a different level of disrespect. That's a different level of fear. And the validation? The culture was like, finally, a diss track that makes you think. People were replaying the song, catching new layers, new references, new jokes every time. The bar became a meme, a talking point, a cultural moment. Even people who don't listen to rap were talking about it. That's how you know it hit different. And the roast? Bruh, if you ever doubted Kendrick's ability to break the internet, just remember, somewhere out there, there's a Drake fan with a Beatles vinyl, a Fat Albert DVD, and a broken heart trying to make sense of these bars. Don't be that guy. Keep it real, and you'll never have to worry about getting exposed. So what's the verdict? The culture felt that Run for Your Life bar in their soul. It was funny, it was scary, it was smart, it was disrespectful, and it was unforgettable. Kendrick didn't just diss Drake. He made the whole world pay attention, laugh, and learn something new.
Need to stay their ass inside. Pull their ass up like a fresh pack of zombies. City is back up, it's a must, we outside.
He said city back on.
Oh, the West Coast is gonna love this.
Oh yeah, he turned the whole LA up with this shit.
They not like
Before we wrap this up, let me keep it real with y'all about what we just witnessed here. After breaking down this Beatles connection, this Fat Albert reference, this whole cultural warfare masterpiece, I gotta ask, Drake, my guy, how does it feel to get ethered by a song from 1965? Like seriously, bro got dissed with a banned Beatles track. That's like getting roasted by your great-grandmother's record collection. This man Kendrick really said, you know what? Let me reach back to the archives of controversy and pull out some vintage smoke for this dude. Drake getting threatened with songs that were problematic before his parents were born. And can we talk about Drake's Google search history after this dropped? This man somewhere frantically typing, what is Run for Your Life Beatles? Why was it banned? What's Fat Albert? Who is Bill Cosby? How do I respond to cultural references I don't understand? His Spotify Wrapped about to look like a music history professor's syllabus. But yo, shout out to Drake's research team though. Y'all about to earn your money trying to decode Kendrick's references. These people went from looking up rap beefs to studying 1960s music censorship. That's a whole career change. They probably in the library right now like, sir, we're gonna need access to the Beatles archives and some Fat Albert DVDs. This is above our pay grade. And Drake's yes men, y'all been real quiet since this breakdown. Where's academics now? That man went from Drake's the GOAT to, actually, let me research this Beatles discography real quick. Even his biggest supporters like, you know what? Maybe we should have paid attention in music history class. But here's the craziest part. Kendrick really said, I'm not just gonna diss you with modern references, I'm gonna pull out the vintage disrespect. This man went to the Museum of Controversial Music and said, let me get that 1965 special. That's some next level petty right there. He really said, your diss track references are too current. Let me show you how we do it with the classics. Drake's somewhere right now like, I just wanted to rap about my success in my cars. Why am I getting a music history lesson? Meanwhile, Kendrick out here like, rap battle? Nah, this a cultural education with bars. This man turned beef into a masterclass. And the funniest part, after all this Beatles analysis, all this Fat Albert breakdown, all this cultural warfare, Drake's still gonna respond talking about his streaming numbers. This man gonna be like, yeah, you might know banned Beatles songs, but check my Spotify stats. Some people never learn, fam. But yo, can we appreciate how Kendrick made us all smarter just by dissing Drake? Before this beef, half of y'all didn't know the Beatles had controversial songs. Now y'all out here like music historians. Kendrick really said, I'm not just gonna roast this man, I'm gonna educate the culture while I do it. That's public service with a side of psychological warfare. And Drake's team probably having emergency meetings like, how do we respond to someone who's using banned music as ammunition? Do we need to hire a musicologist? Should we get a cultural consultant? Can we trademark the number 6 before he turns that into a historical reference too? But here's what really gets me. Kendrick made a diss track so sophisticated that people need footnotes to understand it. This man really said, I'm not just gonna make bars, I'm gonna make y'all do homework. Drake getting dissed with references that require a bibliography. Real talk though, if you made it through this entire breakdown without pausing to Google anything, without checking Wikipedia, without questioning your own cultural knowledge, you might be ready for Kendrick's next level of references. This man might start pulling out ancient Mesopotamian poetry next. So here's what we learned today. Kendrick Lamar is not just a rapper, he's a
Step this way, step that way, step this way, step that way.
Oh, this is catchy.
There's no way this song is this fire.
This song is hard. This song is hard.
Drake, I think you caught this man at the wrong fucking time, bro.
You really jumped in this ring with a dog with rabies, nigga. You might need some shots now.
I think this could possibly be the knockout punch, bro.
This is unfortunately going to be played in the club.
Tonight, nigga, this finna be at the club.
BBL Drizzy, I'm at the pool party, and they just called you a petty.
So the Timberwolves, who have led by as many as 32.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
He's not just getting dissed, he's getting a history lesson. And hip-hop beef ain't just about bars anymore. It's about who can make the most sophisticated threats with the deepest cultural results. If you enjoyed getting your mind blown and your cultural knowledge expanded for the past however long this was, smash that like button like you're smashing through decades of music history.